now. And I always find talking about this stuff fascinating because the powerful and famous have their obituaries printed on newspapers and shared on TV. But what about everybody else? What about the rest of us?
Now, listen to this. A Cork-based company is set to tell stories and tell the stories of the dead via a QR code on your headstone. And here to tell us more is one of the founders, Judy Russell. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Judy.
And we were talking about this yesterday in the office, and we were at a meeting, and everyone was going, what? How does it work? What do you do? So there is all those immediate questions. So tell us about the company and how this actually works.
So I suppose there's three parts. We will help the person to create and curate a story of their living loved one or their deceased loved one. Then we will host that on a web page, which will hopefully be, have multimedia, video, audio, photos, text. And then a QR code then will be sent to them that they can stick onto a gravestone. Now, my mum has a page and she's still alive, so she doesn't need her QR code yet, but eventually one day she will put a QR code on her gravestone and then people will be able to just scan it and read the story of her life.
Can we say, just so that people know what a QR code, you see them all over the place now, we'll just show you a picture of what a QR code is. So as you said there, people can sort of curate it themselves, like they can kind of decide to tell it. So there's a QR code.
So a QR
Stick
code.
that on the gravestone, in case it's so is that it's...
And so
look, there we
there's
go.
one there. So like most people's cameras now, you press a QR code and it comes up and you can see like a menu or some different things like that. So you'll do this, you'll go along. Like, is this not a bit intrusive though? Because like, Muireann, you were saying you like walking around graveyards. I love walking around an old graveyard and reading it. But I don't know whether I'd want to go into the more details of that person who's there.
And I'd be fascinated by that. The way nowadays there's pictures up. Like, I'm always looking at the pictures. And then I'm always like, oh, God, I'd love to know more. But I think from a family's perspective, obviously some people are very private and some people are very public. My family
so if you're private, you won't put it up.
You won't do it. Or what you might do is create a public side of the page, is what we're thinking, where you might have a photo up and maybe just a quick video of the person. It's up to them, like, it's up to you what you want to do. And then you might have a password-protected side of the page that the family can go and kind of read and in the future. Because it's not even... I don't think that this payoff is like in the next kind of 10, 15 years. I think in generations to come. Imagine if you could watch a video of your great-grandfather and see him speak.
Because we
memories.
Right now kind of... Who do you think you are? Like that programme.
Yeah.
When you're trying to find out and put these snippets of information together. And people do want to live on into the future. It's one of the reasons people have kids, we keep on going on. But how much information can be stored on this? Like, I'm assuming it's whatever you want.
Well, as we grow, like, this is the part that I'm so interested in, is the storytelling. Like, how do you make it something that is interesting but also captures the person's life story? So, like, we want to limit, I suppose, the amount of information that people can put on and help people to tell a story in an interesting way, a beginning, a middle and an end, and kind of like set up conflict resolution. If we can try and guide people to tell the story of our lives using those basic storytelling methods, which we all have, and especially in Ireland, as, Shanty history and, that kind of stuff. Like, we are storytellers. It's just guiding people and helping them craft it.
Well, we have a little video of how this works. So let's have a look.
This is Judy's mum.
In the end of my life, I would like everybody to just let me go, because I'm going to a better place, and just think of the good things I did and the love for the friends I had and the people that are around me now. Just think about the time I bought the Merc, the time I had a struggle, but I got over it. I overcame so much. And just think about me like that. And I would be very happy with that. And the time I did Tina Turner, I was brilliant at that. And the laughter. And I love to laugh. And I remember my teacher, my beautiful teacher, Father Pat Murray, saying to me, don't ever lose your sense of humour. And that helped me too, because I do love to laugh.
That is so lovely, but I also love that your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren are going to be like, she had no Merc. That's a great thing to remember. The Merc is important.
And she did Tina Turner.
Where did the inheritance go?
The Merc's important to your mum. How did she feel doing that? Because you are talking from the grave.
Yeah, well, I actually wanted to do this years ago. 8 years ago, I was like, Elder Tube. It will be a YouTube for older people. Like, this is how much now the idea has kind of evolved over the years. So I have her recording from 8 years ago, asking her the same questions. I have a list, kind of what advice would you like to pass on? Tell me about your early years, all this kind of thing. And I went back and I looked at the videos recently from 8 years ago, and they're exactly the same answers almost. And, you know, I was talking to someone who's an expert in, I suppose, psychology, and she was saying that we all carry around a story in our heads that makes us make sense of the world as it is, and you know, it's our narrative inside, and unless something huge happens in your life, that kind of stays the same. And that made me even more interested in this.
But obviously it's not just for people who want to do that. Can families now decide, do you know what, my mother would have loved that, and put together a little montage of photos and music and go, I know she would have loved that if that was available.
Absolutely.
So that can be done
So
also.
it's kind of retrospectively.
Yes.
So Danny would have done one. He's another co-founder in this. He did one for his grandfather. And I actually never realised this. He never met his grandfather. So he went off and found all of the story of his grandfather from his cousins and got the pictures and put them together. And I don't think I can kind of explain that sense of accomplishment and pride when you press to like publish the page, because you're after going and gathering all of this stuff and now it's all available.
My brother Kevin would love to do that now, get all that together and the photos. And he just would love that now, getting all the photos and doing all and their memories. Can I ask you, how much does it cost?
We're kind of working on this at the moment. We're very much at the early stages and we're doing everything manually. So if you came to me and you were like, I want to create a page for my mother or for someone else, we'd be like, okay, here's the list of questions, and we'd guide you through it. And then we will put the page, it's literally me now and the two others moving stuff around on the back end of a website kind of thing. And then we are sending you the QR code. So what we're charging for that at the moment is kind of up in the air. We are charging something just to make sure that, you know, there's some time covered. So it's only a few €100 at the moment. But what we're hoping is that we can get funding or investment so that we can create a platform that will automate this. So it's not just...
And can I just ask, you're saying you send them the QR code, but then, like, you know me and tech now and all this, how does that QR code then end up on the grave?
You'll actually have to go in there, and then it's got a really sticky...
You know the way you put a picture on a grave now and it's in an encasement?
Exactly.
Like of someone.
So you have to download it and bring that... So...
No, we'll send it to you in the post.
Oh, you'll send it in the post.
Exactly,
sorry, I was just thinking on the computer.
Yeah.
So you send it, and then it's up to you just to go and...
Go into the grave
and put it on.
where you're getting the gravestone, and they'll put it on for you.
And just put it on.
Are you worried about it being hacked? Because, you know, the people will be like, you know, we've got a lot of trolls going on and being like, this person. You worried about that?
I'm worried about everything.
Okay.
You know, like when I was driving up here, I was like, what about this? What about that? What
Yeah.
all this kind of, like, they're the things that we're talking about in all of our meetings every evening.
Yeah.
What about in the event of this? Because it is, you know, QR codes aren't new, web pages aren't new, storytelling isn't new, but putting all of those things together is fairly new. So we have to, I suppose, consider the risks. Like, and that's exactly one of them.
And we were just saying earlier on, do you think there'll be holograms of the person telling their story at some stage?
I imagine that when we start wearing VR glasses, you will walk into a cemetery potentially, and you were mentioning Tupac.
Oh my God.
When a concert.
It's all so surreal, isn't it? And how can people find out more about you then?
So it's thestoryof.io is the name of the website, and we're working on building social media as well, and we've got the Story Of channels.
The Story Of.
Judy Russell, it's been a pleasure chatting to you. And what's your mum's name?
Mary.
Mary. We're loving the Merc. Dying to see the Merc, Mary.
I'm loving the Tina Turner.
Need to see a picture there. Judy, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.